Hello there. Let's have a little chat about William Stuart Clarke, who's this Nobby. I was going to say something else that started with Nob, but Nobby is probably the best description because that's the name that he's known by as the Mayor of Invercargill. Now, he's been in the news a little bit over the last 12 months for a number of things, and none of them seem to be good. There's his use of the N-word earlier this year. There is his claims that the media had been bought out by the government and how tangata whenua were being paid off by them. And then there were his stand-ups with Julian Batchelor during the anti-co-governance meeting where he turned around and says, no, I agree with this guy who's racking everybody up and who's telling everybody exactly how bad Māori are, and I totally agree with them. That's not the sort of congenial attitude a mayor should have in the job. Their job is not to divide, it's to bring people together. He's not doing a very good job of it. And there were some red flags about Nobby that came up about a decade ago, when he was actually fired from an organisation called Idea Services Limited, which is one of the largest providers of services for people with mental and physical disabilities. Their job is to try and help those individuals with things that they do in their day-to-day life, going out and building community, finding jobs, that kind of stuff. He got fired for a number of reasons, and the actual court documents are really quite fascinating. They point out some of his breaches actually put that organisation in breach of the Ministry of Health contract that they had, and that he was seen as abrasive and abusive to their clients, and was bad-mouthing his managers behind their back, and there was a whole bunch of stuff that he did that got him fired. And he fought it. He went through the court system to try and get his job back, or at least get some form of compensation, and his actions kept being knocked down. And you can find those articles quite easily just by doing a search for his full legal name, William Stuart Clarke. Now, a lot of people, every time this happens, because it seems to be like a monthly thing, at least at the moment, every time there's a local body sort of politician who does something stupid, I get asked, how do we get rid of them? And it's not good news. You see, there's only a couple of ways that you can actually remove somebody from an elected office. If they're declared bankrupt, they can be removed. If they are incarcerated because they are mentally unwell or they've been locked up in prison, they can be removed. Or if they die. That's it. Because if you're dead, it's very hard to work. But what you can do if you're in Invercargill is actually make a submission. You see, in July for the Invercargill City Council meeting, one of the topics that they are discussing is the electoral system that's used down there. At the moment, you're using first past the post, which is not the fairest system. In fact, only 20,000 people voted in last year's local body election in a population of around 55,000 people. And of those, only 7,500 people voted for Nobby. In fact, the next two highest polling candidates got more votes than Nobby did. It's not a fair system by any stretch of the imagination. STV is a proportional system, which means that you rank candidates and you need a certain percentage to get where you want to, and then if your candidate gets that, it bounces down to the next one. A number of cities and districts around the country started using that in the last election, and this month coming up, Invercargill City Council is discussing whether or not they change that system going forward for the 2025 election. Go in and make a submission. Jump onto the Invercargill City Council website where you can go and have your say and give them feedback. Talk to your local councillors about what it is that you want and how a fairer system like that is much less likely to put somebody like Nobby in a position of power.